from a 3D standpoint, I did talk with a number of you about 3D over the last few days, and we talked about not the technology as much as getting away from using it as a gimmick and using it as a part of the creative storytelling process. Rob, this is a topic we've talked about a lot. Maybe you'd like to just touch on that, and then we can.
I think my experience was on Yugo. In Yugo, we treated 3D as an art form where it would, and you have to see it as you're shooting it, and you start to change the parameters of the shot based on the fact that it's ultimately going to be projected in 3D because you're watching in 3D, and you change how you block the actors, you change how you light something because all of a sudden now you see, or a lack of 3D, if there's no light in the background, it just basically becomes a depthless shot that you now are pronounced. And so you would alter things, and then you also have a tool just like focus where you get to change and alter the convergence. That means where somebody is in front of the screen or behind the screen, and the amount of stereo dramatically, as opposed to just as a gag, as a gimmick. And it can only be done if you're doing it on the day with the talents of like a Martin Scorsese, Bob Richardson, and I won't include myself in that, but everybody who touches those shots. When I did the second unit for it, it was part of the aesthetic, is how I'm going to use this, and we created and did things that I like to think it turned out well, and use it not as a gag. It was not a gag. It was simply we enhanced, and I remember that. Ben Kingsley looked at a scene he'd shot, and he went to the monitor and he noticed that he had to change the way he performed it because now it became obvious that he was leaning in when he didn't mean to, because now you can see it. So you had to act for 3D. And he would never have known that had he not been able to see it on the set. So it became part of his thing. And then we used that for Sacha Baron Cohen, where he wants to threaten this boy, and we just had him keep on leaning in, and he starts coming from behind the screen to in front of the screen in your lap. And that was a dramatic moment. It wasn't a gag. It was something that was very specific that enhanced the feeling that we wanted to establish. And so it can be like anything. Like anything could be not an art form. Light could be not an art form if you just, like these lights probably, not an art form. Or it could be, or you can move them around and diffuse them, do all kinds of stuff, and it's an art form. So the same thing with 3D. You could just get 3D, or you could incorporate it as part of your drama. And when you do it, it works out, it can work out very well. It changed I was not a big 3D fan until I did Yugo and could see the possibilities, and then when I could see it on my set and I could alter and change, and it wasn't even at all technical, it was just what it looked like. Need more of that, less of that, bring that, there was no numbers and all kinds of crazy stuff. It was just, what does it look like? And when I hit something I liked, that's what we did.